No, I've not heard anything about a new Puppet Master game based on the horror series. Brainlet says, do YouTube channels that make content solely based off your own content bother you? And if so, do you think you will ever do anything to try and stop the channels? First of all, if a channel's literal source of content is me, that's pretty pathetic. If you have absolutely nothing creative to do, you have nothing to offer an audience but to talk about me and make fun of me, that's sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was one thing that the person commented on or did, that I can understand. But if you're literally just 100%, let's restream Phil every day, let's make fun of Phil every day, let's slander Phil every day. I mean, that's a loserish mentality. I can't believe anyone would even watch that. How could you follow a loser? This is someone who all they have to do is defame somebody. That's it. There's been people out there who've done this, and then they tried to do their own content, and it failed miserably. No one will watch them do their own content because they have no charisma. They have no talent. All they're good at is being toxic. So all they actually get popularity for is dumping on me, okay? Now, would I ever do anything about those people? No. Because, first of all, you have to understand something. Legally, everything's just a gray area. There have been very few situations where someone's gone to court or sued about any of this stuff. Could you argue that someone using my content without my permission is fair use? Yes. But with the level of defamation, slander, or however you want to categorize it, that's thrown at me on a daily basis, technically, if I wanted to, would I have a case against a lot of these people? Yes. I absolutely legally would. I can tell you I've spoken to a lawyer about it, and the lawyer said, yes, you absolutely have a case. The problem is, you can't just have YouTube stop it. You would have to, like, for example, let's say there was someone who was egregious. What if there was someone, and this hasn't happened, by the way. What if someone literally was saying, Darkside Phil's a murderer, right? He's a bloody murderer, right? Now, that's really messed up. And it's egregious to say that unless you have evidence, right? But just like everything on the internet, people could say whatever they want on YouTube and get away with it. If that were the case, you could sue them for slander, or I forget if it's slander or defamation. It's one or the other. I always get the two confused. And if I sued them, then YouTube would take down their content, okay? The problem is, there's literally so many people on a daily basis that say messed up stuff about me that is not true, or is based on this tiny little fact that then they extrapolate into complete nonsense that's not true. You know, take this one little thing that happened on stream, then add 17 hours of just hypotheses and conspiracy to say this is what it really is when it's not. That's considered defamation or slander. In some countries, it's illegal completely. In the country of India, you can't even do it. If you do it, you will go get shut down and arrested and sued into oblivion. And that's why in India, you don't see this kind of shit ever happen. They don't allow it over there. Their whole legal system is anti-defamation. Now, the problem is, so many people have jumped on this bandwagon, all right, that I could never be able to go after them all. I mean, the best I could ever do would be to try to find maybe the most egregious person that said the most nonsense about me over the years and go after them. But even then, the thing you don't understand is that most of my haters and detractors are not big-time guys on YouTube. Let's say I singled out one person who I felt really was harmful to me in my business for what they had said over the years, and I sued them for defamation or slander, whatever it is. You gotta basically go after them and not only get their content taken down, but then you gotta go after them for damages. Like, realistically, dollar sign amount, how much did they hurt your reputation? How much did they do this or that? How do you figure that out? Exactly. Because you don't know. And for every one person you sue, if there was 100 others doing it, it's like a drop in the bucket. And sadly, the way the legal system's set up, you would have to go after all of them to shut them all down. Because even if you shut down one, there's going to be another 99. Do you see? So it's kind of like the Hydra. If there's a Hydra out there and it's attacking you and you chop off one of its heads, well, now instead of having 3 heads, it grows 2 more. Now it has 4, right? So from what I've seen over the years, the best way to go about this kind of nonsense is very simple. You just ignore it. You can't do much about it. There is no real... This is still the Wild West of the internet. As much as people want to pretend like, oh, the internet is safe and there's laws hashed out, there's nothing. And I mean it too. How is DMCA, copyright, abused so regularly on a daily basis because the laws are draconian. They're not written for the current internet, and they don't apply to it. So now everyone's just trying to fly by the seat of their pants figuring out how to handle it, when in reality we have no legal guidelines on how to really do copyright stuff on the internet. And it's the same thing here with this slander or defamation or whatever you want to call it, okay? Essentially, there's just nothing that can be done about it in its current form. Maybe one day, in 100 years, when everyone has been so toxic on the internet and people are really significantly getting their lives destroyed as a result of it, right? Maybe then something will be done. Laws will be put in place. Safeguards will be put. YouTube won't allow it anymore. If you report a level of harassment, they'll shut it down. Right now, nobody cares. YouTube doesn't shut anything down. You know what they say? Go ahead and sue. And if you sue, then we'll shut stuff down, and that's it. YouTube doesn't want to be a middleman involved in any of it. They feel, because there's this law that protects them in the United States against liability for uploads, they feel they're not responsible for anything on their site. And if you report it, then, you know, they'll go after it, but only if you report it and you also have a lawsuit attached to it. Because there's been people who've gone out there and reported stuff that's been very negative, and YouTube does nothing. They don't care. Only if you're going to sue do they then care and take it down. So, first of all, I'm not a litigious guy. I'm not some guy that gets so upset that people are talking shit about him. At least not anymore. You know, maybe back in the day, in 2011, when This Is How You Don't Play started, yeah, it irked me. Because back then, here was a guy, I'm trying to make a living. I'm a one-man show. There's no guidelines on how to do it right. And I'm really busting my ass. At this point in my life, you know, I'm working insane amounts to pump out videos for people. And now you got people saying, all of a sudden, like overnight, my content's crap. Oh, you never should have deserved success. You're a joke and la, la, la. And I reacted poorly to it, right? And so back then, it became the running meme to say, oh, Phil sucks, and here's another video about another case where he sucks. Today, I don't give two shits about these people. I don't. All I want to do is I want to be here making my content for my audience. I call it curated content. Why? Because it's not content for the mainstream. It's not content for the masses. It's not intended to be. I'm not pumping out a YouTube video that's made to be virally popular, that's, you know, the worst moment in gaming ever, with a stupid, oh, crazy face thumbnail on it. And, you know, I don't do that kind of content, and I never will. You know, I've never been that kind of a content creator. I have no intention of ever being that kind of a content creator. Yeah, so that's what I mean. I'm just happy to make the kind of content I enjoy making for my audience and just be successful at that as a small-time guy. I have no aspirations of blowing up or anything like that. Therefore, let everyone out there say and do whatever they want about me, all right? I'm not going to sit here and combat it all. And the thing is, because I've had that laid-back attitude for many years now, there has now been allowed to be insane levels of conspiracy about me. Because there's a difference between a drama video making fun of someone or a conspiracy video. And the vast majority of stuff that's now being put out about me is literal conspiracy, okay? June the King is currently working on a documentary about me. But he's actually trying to approach it from a standpoint where he wants to neutrally cover everything that's been said about me. Can you imagine the task he has on his plate? He has to go through thousands of hours of crap about me to even figure out what any of it makes any sense. And you know, because again, how much has been said about me, how many things have been made up, and he has to like find a way to present it to make logical sense to an audience when you really can't, because it's a lot of it's just fucking insanity, you know? So I don't at all, I don't envy that man. He's going to have a lot of work going into this thing he's trying to do about me. This is going to be like a 5-hour documentary. Because again, the funny part about it is I just sit here and I make my content and I ignore everything on the outside. Just alone in the last week, I'm almost positive there's been like 3 complete drama things that my haters have made about me, and I don't pay any attention to it. You know, 3 big conspiracies that they made up and they've hyped, and they're clickbait video. I don't care. I'm not going to go after those people. There's no point. It won't work. It'll be too expensive, too much time, frivolous. YouTube doesn't care. You know, there's a million things here about ever having this protected. It's kind of like, You got to accept on YouTube that if you were going to ever make a living doing this, you're going to have people being negative about you. Now, if you blow up to a certain extent, you'll be immune. I never got there. I got to the point where I was like on the precipice of possibly blowing up, and then I didn't want to. I made a decision for myself that I wanted to stay true to who I was and make the content that I liked. I didn't want to take that extra step to be Mr. in the know, Mr. gets everything handed to him, silver spoon in the mouth, free games left and right, promotional opportunities all over. I turned them all down. I had them. In 2011 and 2012, I was known as one of the top partners of Machinima, and I was getting offered trips. I was getting offered games. I was getting offered promotional opportunities, and I turned them down. I said, I don't want to be involved with this. I want to be true to me. I don't want people to think that when I play a game, it's because I'm getting paid to do it. I want people to trust my opinion. And I've had people like Turkey Tom make videos saying 10 years of failure. See, he didn't follow the trends. You're right. I didn't on purpose. I didn't want to sell out and be like those people. And there are people who literally will just say, well, see, he missed out on grabbing the bag and walking away, and he's a failure. I don't think so. I think that I'm just a different kind of person and a different kind of animal altogether as a content creator. And a lot of people just can't fathom that in their brains because their brains are very limited. They have a very limited concept of what success is in life, and they think that it's all based around money and clicks, and it's not. They don't understand that what I do today, I love more than anything I've ever done before, and is more meaningful to me and my audience than any kind of trash I could have put out there for the last decade, being one of the big YouTubers taking paychecks for everything. You see? So, it is what it is. But, hey, I'm happy. These people are going to constantly be talking about me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And as much as you can argue that, hey, this is bad, Phil, because don't you understand that every day when someone's making a conspiracy up about you, this is something that looks negative towards you. You're right. I can't argue that. But at the same time, I'm still pertinent. You get it? Like, I'm still pertinent every day. Why is it that a guy who gets a few hundred views on a stream and a few hundred views on each upload is in the mouths of giant YouTubers? Right? Why does MoistCr1TiKaL name drop me? Why can't Keemstar stop talking about me? Right? It's interesting to think, right? It's like, this guy should be a nobody, but he's actually a somebody. There's probably a reason for that. All right? Maybe I did some things right over the years. People just can't, again, they can't understand that I didn't want to be what they became. Anyway, no, I'm not going after anybody. Ever. Like, again, the only time ever is if someone egregiously was saying something horrendous. Like, I feels a murderer or something like that. I'd be like, fuck you, man. No, that ain't gonna fly. But outside of that, there's no reason to ever go after anyone on YouTube for this stuff. I've never filed a lawsuit. I'm not going to. There's no point. It's never going to work regardless. Like I said, it's never going to happen. So, okay.